Hold the phone here. Is this a reference to the ongoing events in the world right now? Because there's just no way our characters would actually say social distancing like that. It's not something you would normally see come up inside of a series. Like, I want to be honest with you, until what's happened this year in 2020, I have really never heard the whole context of social distancing used as much as it has. You rarely would ever, even at all, never see it inside of media. So, seeing the characters say social distancing, I wonder if that is a reference from the manga, but I really doubt that, because honestly, I feel like it's most likely the translators that made that reference, and if so, hats off to them. I like the witty comedy sometimes translators put in, because, let's be honest here, one of the big things that many used to love in the past while watching anime was fan subs, and how they threw in their own translations that were absolutely hilarious. I remember watching those back in the early 2000s. There were some great times. So, you know what? Hats off to the translators of this episode. It's pretty funny in its own way. So, yeah. But anyways, getting right into this episode of Kaguya-sama Love is War. This scene entirely with Chika, Fujiwara, is just outright hilarious. I started wheezing. Like, I had to just push my chair backwards. I had to just laugh, because this entire sequence of events with Fujiwara finding out just how tone deaf Shirogane is, and her having to help him be able to sing, is just something so hilarious. I did not know I needed it in my life. Now, to kind of backtrack here, back in the first season, which we do get a brief reminder within this episode, Fujiwara did have to help out Shirogane when it came to sports, help him out and all that, to be able to display himself, to not embarrass himself, and Fujiwara really went through so many hoops to be able to help the man. And basically, once everything was said and done, Fujiwara was so mentally and physically exhausted, she was like, I never want to have to do this again, but I'm so proud of my boy out there that he was able to accomplish this task, and I was able to teach him how to do it. It was a hilarious scene in the first season. So I'm very pleased that this episode goes back to one of the funnier moments of season 1 and brings it into season 2 and really ups it up to 11. And so let's get into what actually happened. So Fujiwara instantly notices that Shirogane is lip-syncing. He is not singing the anthem of the school. He's just straight up lip-syncing, and he's doing a really good job at it. Normally, people would not be able to notice it, but Fujiwara, since she is the conductor, she is paying attention to a lot of people. She noticed that Shirogane was not actually singing whatsoever. So obviously, knowing Fujiwara, she confronted the man because she wants to know why the student council president himself, someone that's kind of like the leader of the school, is not doing something that is basic for people in his position. And come to find out, he cannot sing. It's revealed to us and all that, and Fujiwara pretty much is like, okay, let me hear it. It's obviously not that bad. You're saying kind of bad, and she has a whole, flashback of, holy crap, I never want to teach him again. I never want to help him out, etc., because I swore that off with how bad it was the first time. But she's like, with him saying just kind of, it most likely isn't that bad, and also, I'm kind of an expert at music and song, so it won't be that bad, will it? So, Fujiwara obviously had no idea what she was getting into, and when that scene happened and she heard that man sing, this face is just absolutely hilarious, because she was looking at death itself, and I'm just like, yo, I feel so bad for her. I'm gonna be honest with you, Chika, she is definitely chaos itself, but I don't think she deserved that punishment of just how bad that sounded. And, she realized her work was cut out for her, but when she heard the story of basically what Shirogane has gone through and how he has always not been able to sing because people told him not to sing lip sync and all that, Chika obviously, she couldn't kind of fall back and not help him out because she realized the man was bullied, he was all alone, and he wanted to be able to sing with his peers, be able to sing with Kaguya, sing with, Fujiwara, sing with, Ishigami. He wanted to sing with all of them, and so Fujiwara, being a kind-hearted soul, she decided to help him out. And once that started and she got into this motherly instinct, she literally started saying goo goo gaga, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, is that really going on right now. But then once everything is done, after training this man, having a whole montage, she's just like, I'm so happy for my boy. She breaks down and starts crying. Like, yo, she breaks down and starts crying because she's so happy to see Shirogane able to sing. It is just outright hilarious. But it doesn't just stop there. The scene also basically implies that there is more to this story than just this. For instance, when it comes to this little gag of Fujiwara having to help someone like Shirogane, she's probably going to have to do it again because it literally said to be continued after that little skit was done. So I'm pretty excited for the next continuation of that because honestly, it's one of my favorite moments of Kaguya-sama's Love is War. Like, one of my favorite segments is this type of stuff with Fujiwara because it's just so funny. But okay, enough with that. I've kind of, I blabbered on long enough on that. Let's talk about some other themes. One other big element to this episode that was really nice was just seeing Shirogane's eyes and how he didn't have, like, the bags underneath them. And honestly, at first, it kind of threw me off. I didn't realize what was going on. Like, when the episode began and you saw Shirogane, I knew he looked weird. It was very apparent he looked weird. And I agree with what everybody was saying. But I didn't realize what was truly different until it was straight up said with his eyes having bags, like dark circles around his eyes, and I'm just like, holy crap, his character legitimately does not look the same without the eye bags, and I'm just like, holy crap, how much of a difference that makes. And, I do like how it plays into the demeanor of his character, of how he's very unapproachable. He's someone that, is very intimidating because of just the way his eyes look, because of how exhausted he really is. So because of that, it's interesting that nobody really wanted to approach him, and only Kaguya wants to approach him, but soon as his eyes were fixed, everybody kind of wants to talk to him, hang out with him, go to karaoke, and I'm just like, things would probably be a lot different for Shirogane if he did not have his eye bags, and Kaguya would have a lot more of a challenge to go after the man if he didn't have those eye bags, which that gets into a very funny element. Kaguya pretty much lets us know she has somewhat of a kink for the eye bags on Shirogane, and Kashiwagi literally realizes that what Kaguya's love isn't necessarily true love, it's more twisted and, disturbed than anything, because she sees how Kaguya literally is just so infatuated with the man's intimidating eyes. She was like, that's kind of creepy, because she carries him to the nurse office, and then she just watches him while he sleeps and all that. It's so disturbing, but funny, and I just love seeing, how Kashiwagi, which is this character that has been built up for a very long time now, is kind of like a subplot, was very important in the middle of this episode for pretty much talking to Kaguya, and knew what Kaguya was going through because Kaguya was trying to hide it, but it's very apparent, and Kashiwagi isn't necessarily dense. She knows, Kaguya is talking about herself and talking about Shirogane, and just the way she tries to protect Kaguya from, Fujiwara, but then tries to express, true love, etc. If a Kaguya becomes more distorted, I just love Kashiwagi's reaction at the end of that, because it's just like, yeah, that was my reaction too, just how Kaguya was just so in love with the man's, I guess, exhausted eyes. But okay, with all that though, let's talk about the final sequence, which is with Miko. Hopefully I am saying her name right. Miko, which was a new character introduced just recently, that's to challenge Shirogane for, the student council president position. Obviously, we needed more of her because I highly doubt that would be the end of her, and I even said I would be very upset if she wasn't very important because she's an interesting character. She has a very unique personality, and I feel like because of just the way her personality is, she would definitely mesh well with the cast in its own way, and I think that, I wanted to see more of her, and this episode does deliver that. It delivers the fact that Kaguya comes face to face with Miko, and we get to see kind of like this ice princess go up against this very stern, by the book, by the rules person, and it's interesting to see these two go up against each other, and the way Kaguya kind of presents herself towards Miko is very intimidating. I'm not gonna lie, like Kaguya, we're normally used to seeing the inside of her mind and how she's basically very cutesy, ditzy, or she's going after Shirogane in a romantic way. We know she's incredibly intelligent, but when she's not messing with Shirogane, we get to see another side of her that we don't normally get to see often, which is kind of this very cold, stern, and she has a motive. And the way she goes after Miko is just something very interesting, because it's just such a different contrast to what we're used to from her character with the way she interacts with, you know, the student council. And seeing how she was, like, persuading Miko, saying, like, hey, you know, if you drop out right now, we'll make sure you become the student council president for your second year. And I really truly believe that, you know, Kaguya would make that happen. She definitely would make that happen. But the thing is that Miko, because of how her rules are, how she fights for it, she doesn't, like, you know, believe in being bribed, etc. She wasn't going to falter and back down. And she realized just how twisted Kaguya and Shirogane is, just because of their ideals and how they present themselves. And the way she goes about it, basically saying that Kaguya and Shirogane should be together, they should be married together, it's because their personalities are so twisted and warped in its own way that they're meant to be. And I think that's funny how Kaguya kind of misunderstood that and thought it was a compliment, but in reality it was not. But then she found out what Miko actually wanted. She's like, okay, we cannot let her be student council president. It would literally destroy the entire school body, the student body, in terms of just what people want, because literally people would not even be able to be close to each other because of some of her rules. But yeah, with all that though out of the way, the episode is incredibly enjoyable as always, and you know, Kaguya-sama Love is War, I can't get enough of it. And this episode had so much laughs, so much comedy, and honestly, it never ceases to amaze me by just how much joy this series brings me. I know I say it so much when it comes to Kaguya, but it really does bring me so much joy, and as long as it continues to bring me joy, I'm not going to stop saying that, because it's just that good of a series. I know it's not something that's probably thought-provoking, or something that is really action-oriented that some seek, or psychological, etc., but I really do enjoy some of the simpler series, some of the slice-of-life series that just leave you with good feelings, and that's what I always get, and I cannot ask for more. That's just how good it is. But I'll leave it at that. I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below, because for some reason, even if you click the subscribe button, you don't always get notified. So if you want to get notified, hit that bell icon. And this doesn't just go for me, this goes for all YouTubers on the platform. So even if you don't want to do it for said me, do it for the YouTubers you do watch often, because it does help us out a lot, and you'll be able to be notified for when a video does come out. But with that, I love you guys. Be safe. Chibi out.